The Left Loves Segregation, Proof for Your Liberal Friend by Matt Walsh.
Posey says she found out the school was putting black students in two separate classes with two separate teachers.
You cannot segregate classrooms. You can't do it.
Here's a report from WSB in Atlanta about actual racial segregation in a public school in the city. This is the local news report. It's a little bit long. It's a couple minutes, but I think it's worth watching. Also, when we play long clips, it gives me a chance to drink coffee. That's the real reason we do this. But let's watch this. Go ahead.
We've lost sleep trying to figure out, why would a person do this?
Kyla Posey says she was stunned when she learned about classes segregated by race at Mary Lynn Elementary last year, a practice she says was put in place and condoned by Principal Sharon Briscoe.
First, it was just disbelief that I was having this conversation in 2020 with a person that looks just like me, a black woman. It's segregating classrooms. You cannot segregate classrooms. You can't do it.
Posey says she found out the school was putting black students in two separate classes with two separate teachers. The white kids were placed in 6 classes with 6 different teachers. The parent says she found this out when she let Briscoe know she wanted her child placed in the classroom of a teacher she thought would be a good fit. Posey says the principal said...
So, is the parent racist here by saying the black teacher isn't a good fit? That's interesting.
That wouldn't work.
She said that that's not one of the black classes, and I immediately said, what does that mean? I was confused. I asked.
That meant exactly what you thought it meant. You just didn't think you'd hear those words in 2025. Or 4. This could be an older clip.
For more clarification, I was like, we have those in the school? And she proceeded to say that, yes, I have decided that I'm going to place all of the black students in 2 classes.
Posey says she insisted her child be placed in a class with white students. She says Briscoe explained her child would be isolated.
And I explained to her she shouldn't be isolated or punished because I'm unwilling to go along with your illegal and unethical practice.
The Poseys recorded a call.
100% illegal, 100% that it's against our nation's laws to do this anymore. Unethical, 100% as well. However, I think some of those white kids would probably be like, heck yeah, I don't want them in my class. They're wild.
With an assistant principal where they complained about the segregated classes. The administrator confirmed it was the principal's decision and seemed to offer an explanation why the classes were set up this way.
We have more black kids too, and then some of them are in a class because of the services that they need.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by the services that they need are only in the black class? What do you mean by that, Principal? Elaborate.
We'd like to say that this is shocking, actual racial segregation in the classroom. It's about the most illegal thing, one of those fundamentally illegal things a school could possibly do.
100%,
is to racially segregate their classrooms and actually call them. There was no attempt to hide it. It wasn't like they came up with different labels for this and, it just so happens that it worked out racially in this way. No, it's like, that's our black class and this is our white class, right? We'd like to call that shocking. I don't think we really can. I mean, we have gone full circle and we're back to this now. Racial segregation sort of approached from the opposite direction now, though.
100%. We're all the way back around to the 60s.
Where now it's a matter of we're going to segregate because we're trying to get the white kids away. Racial segregation in the Jim Crow era was the other way. We don't want the white people to have to deal with the black people. So we're gonna.
Yeah, I mean, in a way that sounds right, but if you look at it objectively, it's like, no, that means one of these groups is bad, and that is inherently racist because you know which one they're referring as bad.
Put them over there. Now it's just that in the reverse. And I say reverse, which isn't to say that it's reverse racism, because of course there's only one kind of racism. If you're
racism is racism.
A person and you think that people of another race are inferior then that makes you a racist no matter what race you are. But this is the reverse approach to racial segregation, reverse from what it was, 100 years ago. And so that's not a surprise. This is the direction we've been headed. They've been doing this kind of thing in universities and in colleges for a while now. Maybe not that explicit, like we're going to have a white class and a black class, but we're going to have a black-only space where, black people can get together, or people of color, BIPOC can all get together, and we don't want white people intruding on that space. We've been doing stuff like that in colleges for a while now. So this is where it's headed. If there's anything sort of surprising here, it's that the principal, again, made no attempt to hide it. And so she assumed that everybody was okay with it.
Yeah, that's the wild.
The mother talking.
That's another wild part, is that the principal just thought this was okay. Like, you're violating federal laws. You're committing crimes that are obviously racist to both groups, actually. You're splitting them up and saying, we don't want these groups together because one of them is better than the other and one will harm the other. It's like, possibly put them together, see what happens. That's the better option. The better option is just to leave them together. Let the classes be randomly generated for which students are going which, to accumulate all the students into good class sizes that aren't too full, that aren't too small. So, teachers and students can get more one-on-one time rather than just sitting in big lecture halls like colleges.
To the principal, and the principal says, oh yeah, it's our black class. And the mother has to say, wait, what? The what now?
The mother knew exactly what she meant. She just wanted her to reiterate and say it again.
Our black class, what's the problem with that? And based on this report, now maybe there were other parents who were upset, but if there were, they seem to be in the minority. It's mainly this mother who's objecting, which means either the other parents didn't care and were on board with it, or they never heard about it.
Or they were silenced and, just kicked under the rug, and they're like, oh, it's fine. This is just how things are done here.
I don't know which would be more disturbing. There could be some combination of the two. That tells you something about public school. That's why I'm always harping on this. You send your kid into a government building for 7-8 hours a day. You're not going to know everything you're not going to know almost anything that happens. You're only going to know what your kid tells you. And especially when they're younger, they're not going to tell you a whole hell of a lot. Yeah, I get home from school and I get home from work and I sit down with my kids. And I always ask them, what'd you do today? How'd it go? Like, I want to hear about their day. And they never have a whole lot to say. Like, they'll home in on one little detail. Like yesterday I came home, I asked them how to go today. And the only thing they told me, they were very excited to tell me, but the only thing they told me about was that they found a deer skull in a creek near our house, which is very exciting for kids. I don't blame them, but that's the only event from the day, and everything was about the deer skull.
I mean, for a kid, that's a pretty cool event. You don't find a deer skull every single day. That's pretty cool to spot. And then, you get to go tell your dad about it. And then dad's like, that's actually kind of cool. Yeah.
For a kid, that's the only thing that matters, right? So when I hear from parents and they say, oh, it's all, as long as you're in a conversation with your kids and you have an open line of dialogue, you don't have to worry about it because they're going to tell you what's going on. And, no, they're not.
Always. Not always. Most
when they're
of the
very
time,
young, they're not going to, the things that you know are important and that you'd like to hear about, they don't know that that's important. I think the kids who are racially segregated, they don't understand. They don't know the history of this, of racial segregation in the school. They don't see a problem with it. They might not even told their parents. So the things that you know are important, your kids don't know that. So they might not tell you.
Yeah.
And then 100%. As kids get a little bit older, and even if they do know that something's important, they might not want to tell you because they don't want you causing a stink about it and all these other things. And also they're being conditioned by the school to think that these things are okay.
Yeah, if they grow up for years and years and years segregated, thinking this is just an okay thing that happens, they're going to get into the real world and be mixed together, and they're going to be like, this is odd. This isn't how I was taught. I was taught something completely different. And some of them might not get the realization that what they were taught growing up was wrong, and that they're going to be like, man, society is wrong, and they're going to try to regress it back to segregation days, or they're going to try. It's like, no, we've gone a long way to be away from that, because, well, yes, there is a good portion of the population of, darker skin that do commit a lot more crimes than people of light skin descent. And yeah, even though some of them are bad, there's still enough that are good to balance it out and to show that, hey, we are okay, everything's good, these groups can mix together, and even some are married. When I grew up in church, my youth leader, he was a white guy married to a black woman. They had they had at least one kid together themselves, and he had two daughters from a previous marriage. So they were a full interracial couple, fully mixed and everything. And they were a super happy, great family. They still are. The husband and wife, I see pictures of them all the time. They are great. Some of my favorite people.
So you can't rely on that. Another argument for, well, it's an argument for homeschooling, as always. Also an argument for
I am a very staunch advocate for homeschooling, because that way you can make sure your kid is taught the important things in life, the important life lessons. You can create them their own gym class, and you can even make extracurricular activities that still, gives them plenty of time to interact with other kids, get, social skills so they're good at talking and conversing with others, and, getting into their later years, learning how to debate with each other, conflict resolution.
For cameras in the classroom, so that you could actually see that happening when they segregate the classrooms by race. As we come full circle,
there's a give and take for cameras in the classroom. I think that there should be in every classroom for age, all minors and everything, K through 12, that 100% should have a camera in every class, so that if there's an incident and a kid comes home and mom and dad ask them what happened at school today, they can go, well, this happened. Someone hit me. And, if they got a mark, maybe that's evidence. And then all of a sudden the parent can call the school and be like, hey, my kid said this happened here today. It happened in in which class? This class. Okay. Well, this class, do you know what time of day? No? Okay. So just this class, and we'll just start scrubbing through and seeing if an incident does occur. And then, the kid can be proven telling the truth, or maybe proven a liar. And yeah, it helps. It's a protective device. And then there's the negative effects of a camera in every classroom, because you never know who's watching. Like, could be just, the people who are like, I need access to be able to watch my kid 24/7. Yeah, I don't think anyone outside of the school should be able to watch those cameras unless a parent comes in with evidence of like something that happened to or with the accusation of something that happened to their kid. Then they can come in and sit in the school and watch it. But yeah, I think the camera is in the school are a 100% necessity.
Back to racial segregation. This is...
And also some things that are hilarious that happen in classrooms sometimes. Sometimes a teacher does a really good job at teaching certain segments, or they tell a good funny joke or story or something. And, maybe you want to go grab that and retell it. Maybe take that footage and be like, hey, I need that. I want that to upload. No one thought to record it, but we got the camera here, so we can just have the audio and play it back. When I was in high school, there are so many occasions that would have been great for.
A tool. Race. Any kind of tribalism is a tool for those in power, a very effective tool, as we've seen, to manipulate and exploit and control people. And it has proven, this tool has proven far too alluring to those who are in power now, from the federal government all the way down to the school systems. It's far too alluring. So they're exploiting it. There was a what we now have to call, unfortunately, a brief moment in time in this in history that I can remember, going back to when I was in school in the 90s, where we had something like racial harmony. It wasn't perfect. Nothing is ever going to be perfect in a human society, but it was as perfect as you could hope for it to be, probably. Where race was not something that I remember talking about or focusing on as a kid.
Even me, about a decade and a half later than him, yeah, we didn't even have that much race. It did begin during my generation, but yeah, I was just like, we didn't really have a ton of that. We had the learnings of slavery. We had, the realizations and whatnot of human history, of the horrors some people caused, the insane human sacrifices that different ancient tribes used to do all the time. They would sacrifice children because, it'll make your crops grow better next year. It'll help keep the gods appeased. And it's like, yeah, there's a lot back then that changed, and then going all years and years and years forward, it's like, yeah, I can see where humanity is in a much better place today, but it's not perfect.
Didn't talk about it much in school. We were all kids going to school, didn't really think much about it. You notice the differences, you don't think about it, you don't dwell on it. You don't see anything particularly.
That's exactly how I was learned I learned and was taught it. You see all the differences, you don't dwell on it, you realize, our ancestors sometimes were a little effed up to each other. Yeah, let's try not to be like them. Let's try to be better than them.
Significant about it. And that was the state of affairs for, a couple decades maybe. Until the powers that be said, no, this is a tool that is way too useful. And now we're going back to how it was before. The system isn't broken, it's rigged. Banks has helped hundreds of .com/Walsh, pdsdebt.com/Walsh. Fox News, it says Columbia University is planning to hold 6 additional graduation ceremonies for students according to their race and other aspects of how they identify.
That makes no sense. You're spending X amount of money more to segregate these and do so many more graduations. That's mind-boggling. Just put it all together. Everybody shows up, the crowds are larger, and there's more, there's a much better thing. If you were doing it by race, or you're doing, each group by group even, that's even wrong. You do it alphabetically. That's just tradition. That's how it's done. You don't jump around race or any other metric. You just alphabetical. Hey, sorry you were born with the last name Zachariah. You're last. Like, oh well. Oh, you have the last name Arthur? You're probably one of the first ones to come up. Congratulations.
The New York City Schools website details graduation ceremonies for Native Asian, Latinx, and Black students taking place for Columbia College, Columbia Engineering, General Studies, and Barnard College at the end of April. Another dubbed FLI graduation is for first-generation and/or low-income communities. And then the school is also hosting a lavender graduation for the LGBTIAQ plus community.
The only reason I think you ever have an excuse to split up a graduation is if your graduating class is literally so big that you don't have room for all the graduates and their peers and their parents. Like, the people they want to invite and they want to be there for them in their big moment. It's like, yeah, a lot of them are not going to fit. So yeah, we're going to have to do 2. And we'll do the first half of the alphabet and then the second half of the alphabet. A through M, N through Z. and then you just split it up there or something, and it's like, all right, that works.
So now they're defending this by saying that they're still having a regular graduation for everybody, but then they're going to have the segregated ones too. On top of that.
Wait, what? But the segregated one covers like most of their categories, doesn't it? Or are they just excluding these guys from the normal graduation? Because if so, that's racist. That is insanely racist.
So that makes it okay? So if you had segregated drinking fountains, but you also had a drinking fountain that anyone could use, would that make it okay?
No.
You got black and white drinking fountains. So we go back to that, black and white drinking fountains. And then if anyone complains, we say, no, but there's also a drinking fountain across the hallway that you can, and anyone can use that one. This is
absurd.
Segregation. This is actual race.
This is racial segregation, and it's absurd.
Racial segregation that is being reinstated by the left. And it does make me wonder, so if you've got the regular graduation and then all these other graduations, does that mean that, so what about a student who's a student, also gay, also black, also indigenous? Would they go to like 6 different graduations?
Yeah, do they get 6 diplomas for the price of 1? Or are you going to charge them 6 times more?
I guess so. This is how we have, it really is amazing to witness how we've gone just full circle right back to Jim Crow. And we are doing it in the name of racial tolerance and equality. Going right back to separate but equal. And I hate to use
There is no inclusion here with segregation. You're literally doing the exact opposite. The left was all for DEI until we told them they couldn't call it that, and now they're just like, all right, segregation, hardline. It's like, what? Those are not the same thing. Those are polar opposites, buddy.
The term, because this is so overused and used so often by people who've never even read the book, or any of his books, but it really is Orwellian. There's no other real word to describe it. The way that racial equality has now become synonymous with the very thing that those who were fighting for racial equality historically were trying to get rid of, which would be segregation. This is from CNS News. It says an executive producer at America's largest owner of radio stations, iHeartMedia, advertised a job Thursday by stating, "We are looking at only diverse hires at this time."
Well, that sounds like if it's for a radio position and they're looking for a specific voice, maybe. Doesn't sound like that's what he's about to tell me, though.
Only diverse hires, quote unquote. Molly Socha, executive producer of custom podcasts at iHeartMedia, made the statement in an email sent to a listserv interested in the New York City radio industry and obtained by CNS News. Socha said, quote, "Diversity is incredibly important to our team and our company, so we're looking at only diverse hires at this time."
So they don't want the best of the best. They just want someone for the color of their skin. In a way, that's racist.
While the iHeartMedia producer made this stipulation in her email, it apparently is nowhere to be found in the public listing for the job. Instead, the public announcement states that iHeartMedia is an equal opportunity employer and will not tolerate discrimination in employment on the basis of race, color, age, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity expression, religion, disability, ethnicity, national origin, marital status, protected veteran status, genetic information, or any other legally protected classification or status.
Interested.
Which is, of course,
I have my legal bullcrap over here. Except over there is what I actually am looking for.
Exactly what they're doing. This is a violation of equal opportunity employment.
Yep.
They're saying that, because we could translate this, of course, when they say we're only looking for diverse hires, in other words, we don't want a white person.
Yeah, they don't want a white guy.
And so in order to ensure diversity, they're eliminating ahead of time an entire category of people. They're limiting the number of people or the pool that they're going to select from in the name of diversity.
Yeah.
Narrowing it down in the name of diversity. And the whole idea that a person can be diverse. I don't know exactly what that's supposed to mean. You've got a diverse person versus an undiverse person.
It's like, what do they mean here? They mean they want someone for their skin color rather than what they can do. They could hire the person who has 0% qualifications, but if they look the part, great for your optics, I guess. Like, I don't think so.
Or a non-diverse person. Here's an update to this story, though, posted last night. Socha emailed the NYC radio listserv shortly after being contacted by CNS News with the following statement. I made an error in language in my last note, so I just want to clarify.
Error.
All are welcome to apply, and we will consider all qualified candidates. That
I'm sure they will.
Being said, in our efforts to elevate diverse voices in the predominantly white podcast space, we strongly encourage engineers, editors of color, regardless of gender and sexual orientation, to apply.
Oh, yes, because all the diverse hires are all engineers and doctors and lawyers.
Yeah, that's a little too late for that. You made an error in language. No, you didn't. You expressed what you're looking for. That's not an error in language. It's not an error at all. That's actually not a mistake. You were being very clear about what you wanted.
Yep.
It should be too late for that. I mean, there should be a massive lawsuit against iHeartMedia for this.
Oh, 100%.
Just like there would be if they sent out an email saying, we're really looking for a white employee on this one.
Yeah, imagine if they came out and were like, let's see, I need a short guy, so I need an Asian. They're always known to be short, so I'm looking for an Asian guy, just so we can have a short guy on staff. Or I'm looking for a specific person. I only want the white guy, the whitest guy on planet Earth. If you find a whiter guy than the white guy you hire, we're gonna fire that guy and hire the whiter white guy. Like, what? A company is not a photo. A company is not a photograph, showing races from left to right, going from white all the way down to the darkest of black at the far end, where, it's like the yin-yang symbol when you put your arms together for, the white and the black person. It's like, come on. What are we doing here?
It's really what we're looking for. You think they could send out that email and then the next day or a few hours later say, "Oh no, we'll consider non-white employees also, or non-white applicants."
Yeah, no one believes that they're actually going to go consider any other applicant other than
they've revealed
the
their
diverse
intent.
one they intend to.
And that should be enough right there.
And yeah, if they hired anyone who was just via that simple premise of, just on their skin color, just on this, it's like, why are we doing this? We need a country that is hiring based off of merit, based off of you're the most qualified for this position. We need people who are good at their jobs, not people who just fill a quota. Filling a quota costs people their lives, gets people killed, and never does anything good for society. Have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow.